Do you feel like you're a rookie, Rece, with this?
Dan, I've been asked that a lot, and candidly, I don't. I think it's because I've done college football at ESPN for 17 years. I've had relationships with those guys. Now, it was certainly a different experience hosting that show, even though, I'd done playoff coverage with all of those guys and hosted all of the stuff from the Rose Bowl last year. So I think a lot of people looked at it that way, and I understand why, because television viewers generally don't like change, or at least it takes them a while to get comfortable with it. But I don't feel like a rookie with it. I mean, maybe I should, but for some reason I just don't.
What was your strategy in pushing Fowler out?
Well, I thought the number one thing I had to do was to make him fall in love with calling the Saturday night games, and I thought once I did that, that would probably be clear sailing from that point on.
I tell people that when you're in the studio, you got a sterile environment. It's completely different when you get out into the elements, because you do have to worry about the elements. You got to worry about if it's wind or rain or the sun. You got to, the crowd that's there. You got a producer who's talking to you, a director who's talking to you. Sensory overload. Can you describe that for the fans of what it's like to sit there with College Game Day, and it's, like this weekend in East Lansing for Michigan State, Oregon?
I think the number one thing, Dan, to me, and I've drawn on my 10 years of doing it in college basketball game day, is that you want to be able to respond and react with the crowd because they are part of the atmosphere environment and people at home are seeing it, but you don't want to be a slave to them. You don't want to totally react to everything that happens in the crowd behind you. You still have to do the show and talk about the topics you want to, but you also don't want to be oblivious to everything that's going on around you. So I think it takes a little mental dexterity and takes some concentration, I think, not only on what your partners are saying, but also on what's going on around and making sure that you're keeping the show on track as well, which I will admit, and I don't like admitting this for as long as I've been doing it, but that was priority number one for the A's, the first segment of the show to me, because you're cognizant that everybody's watching, and Chris did a great job hosting that show for a long time. And even though I'm, hopefully not to the point of being cocky, but I'm confident that I know what I'm doing out there, it was important to me to keep things on track in the A's, and we did that. And then after that, it pretty much felt like a normal day at work.
You're not one who's going to shy away from a strong opinion or a difficult question, so I'll hit you with this one. More handsome, Herb Street or Jesse Palmer?
In a different way. Jesse Palmer is much more handsome in, the European tight-fitting pants kind of way, whereas Herbie has the edge if you prefer someone like yourself, Dan, a rugged Midwesterner.
Better quarterback?
I'll have to give that one. I mean, I love Herbie, but I'm going to have to give that one to Jesse. I mean, Jesse got 6 years in the league and some time in the CFL, so I'm going to have to give that one to Jesse. Although maybe, when I was working Thursday nights with Jesse and David Pollack, we would go out every Thursday and run routes for Jesse. And he can still spin the magic bean, as he said. So, man, if Herb Street wants to change my opinion, we're going to have to start throwing some on Fridays, I guess.
Explain this to me. We're talking to Rece Davis from the Mothership, College Game Day host. Urban Meyer not naming his starter right up until game time. I don't have a problem with it because I want both of them to prepare as if they're starting and keep them in the game and I assume both are going to play. But here's Cardell Jones, who didn't even know until, hey, don't come on the sidelines, go on out. You're going to be my quarterback. What did you think of the move by Urban?
Well, I understood allowing the competition. I will admit, Dan, the skeptic in me, and as much as I like Urban and respect him, I was skeptical that Cardell really didn't know. And I'm not saying that they told him to say that or anything of the sort. Maybe he was just trying to pay the proper respect to JT. But I found that a little hard to believe, that they didn't know or have an inkling or have a pretty good idea. Because I don't know that always would put you in the best position to win. If even right up to the point that everybody's walking out of the field that you don't know if you're going to play. And Urban is all about putting people in the best position to win, and he does it brilliantly. So, I mean, maybe it was the truth, and maybe it was a unique set of circumstances in which it worked. I think the practical thing in terms of the decision has always been give Cardale this year. He's probably going to the pros, and JT will still have 2 more years to be the starting quarterback at Ohio State. But when you say that, then you're excluding the whole human element of making sure that you respect what JT has done. JT's a team captain. He's like a coach on the field. Cardale is, the more charismatic, outgoing type of guy. Not that JT's not engaging, but he's the bigger personality. But JT carries a ton of respect on that team. It was practical to do it the way that it ended up doing because for the long term for Ohio State, and it'll be up to them and those 2 guys and Urban to manage the egos and the personalities.
Give me the fan base that should be nervous after the first week.
You know what? That's a tough question. I mean, the obvious one is Texas about whether this is going to work, but among contenders, which is what I think you're talking about, I would say Oregon. Simply because of look, they've always given up a lot of yards and points, and part of it is a product of tempo and getting big leads. But I watched the tape of that game yesterday morning. That was a pretty good slice and dice job that Eastern Washington put on them, and with a game coming up this weekend and the reputation of the Pac-12 North sort of taking a hit already. I'd be a little bit nervous if I were Oregon going into this weekend as well. And things candidly look, I think Charlie's a good coach, but I mean, it's not going in the right direction at Texas, certainly at the moment. And it's a pretty tall task, it seems right now, for him to get it turned around as bad as they looked against Notre Dame Saturday night.
Who's your sneaky team this year?
I think the sneaky team probably is not as sneaky as it was before Saturday night, but it's Texas A&M. A&M was really bad on defense last year, but they were playing a lot of really talented freshmen who, frankly, screwed up their scheme from time to time. They've got a guy in John Chavis now who is going to simplify things for them. They've got really good defensive ends, and they've got that Christian Kirk kid. He looked like he was running through Pee-wee guys on that long hitch screen that he took for a touchdown. They've got some explosive dudes on the outside, couple of quarterbacks, and really dynamic pass rushers. I think A&M might not be as sneaky as it was before Saturday night, but I would say them.
I noticed when you interviewed Van Peasy at halftime, there was no mention of me being on his first show. Did management tell you not to bring up that I was going to be in studio with Scott Van Pelt, Rece?
You know what management did? They kept me in the dark, Dan. I didn't know that you were coming back, or I would have had some type of welcome gift for you. And in fact, I just thought I asked my wife before I came on with you, which I'm delighted to talk to you. As you know, I've always had a great deal of respect for you and admiration for you. But I asked my wife if somewhere stored away do we still have my 15-year pewter commemorative Disney service thing. So if you ever start missing yours, since you gave it to Scott, just give me a call and I'll send mine your way. And I was actually flying home last night, and I saw on Twitter the whole visitor badge thing, and I laughed out loud. Actually, when I landed, I got back and watched the video just to see it. I laughed out loud. Very funny. You should never have to wear a visitor badge in a place you help build like that.
Well, I had to give my name to security when I came in. I'm here to see Scott Van Pelt, and they gave me a visitor's badge. So I said, I'm going to wear it. And 3 different people right before I'm going on go, you got to take off the visitor's badge. I said, oh, no. I got to wear it. I'm going to wear it the whole time here. I don't want security coming through here. Hey, I'm proud of you, happy for you, and great to talk to you again.
Likewise. Thank you, Dan.
All right, Rece Davis, as we used to say. Rece out.